I can remember back when I first started making these dolls, I found the Planet Applique website and obviously was looking at the Juno doll and the fairy dolls, and they looked amazing. But I, like many people, felt that they were too difficult for me to make. I put off buying the design for a while, and then one day I thought, you know what, I'm just going to do it. So I bought them. I bought the original Juno and I bought a fairy doll. Now, I looked at the instructions and the accompanying videos, which are brilliant, by the way. And they, I can remember thinking to myself how difficult it looks. I didn't understand exactly what was going on. And one of the things I do remember stumbling on was the wig. To make your beautiful doll's hair, then you need to prepare your faux fur. And in this video, I'm going to help you do that so your doll will have beautiful hair too. Now, what the most important element of this, of course, is the fur. Now, you get fur in different piles, in different colours, in different textures. You get the more luxurious ones, and then you get the ones that aren't as luxurious, but they're still nice. They still look lovely. But I just moved on to this and have never looked back. Now, I do have faux fur for sale. Now, when you buy through me, this is what you'll get. Okay, because you can then do both pieces of the wig, so you can do the front and the back in one piece. If you buy elsewhere, then again, cut down your fabric so you're just dealing with a small section of it. Because to not waste money, you have to be a bit careful about your placement, because you don't cut any old rectangle shape. You do need to take into account what you've got to fit on it. But yeah, unless you're, if you don't mind dealing with the big fabric and just cutting bits and pieces out of it as you go, then lovely. But in this instance, we're going to work with what you would get from me if you buy my furs. So with this, as you can see, it's got a lovely strong backing on it. The pile is following the grain of the fabric, which is vertical and not horizontal. Can you see how the grain, the lines are running down and not across? With a nice backing like that, it makes it really easy to cut. You haven't got loads of fraying. It is lovely fur. Anyway, so when you first get it, you might find it's a bit of a mess, or it's a little bit, so it could be looking like, oh, that's the wrong way. As you can see, that easily happens. And when I sold fur before, I did have a lady that wasn't too happy till I explained that it's actually running the wrong way, and all you need to do is smooth it out from the top, and it behaves itself, and you've got exactly what you paid for. So again, very easy to tidy it up and get it looking the way you want it to be looking for when you cut it out. So then this is what we have. Now, for me, I like to cut it in half and then deal with each piece separately, rather than doing one piece and then up here. It's just the way I like to do it. So take a ruler and going to use my template just to be sure that I'm cutting it in the right place. We do sell these plastic wig templates in the 6x10 but also the 5x7 as well, which makes life a lot easier. So I'm measuring so I know that that piece is going to be big enough for that part of the template, also there. So I'm just going to bring this along just a bit, just slightly, and then all I do is get a pen and then I've just got to cut it. Now when you get your fur, it may not be quite as long as this, or it may well be as long as this. It's not precise, but as long as you've got room for your doll's your hair templates, wig templates, then it's fine. It doesn't matter if you've got a little bit extra, but majority of the time you're not going to have quite so much, but just enough to play with so that you don't have to be really precise in your placement. So what do we do? Okay. Right, the next element of the supplies is your craft knife. Don't use scissors. If you use scissors on this, you are chopping your fur, and that's what you paid for, is that lovely fur. As long as this is nice and sharp, it will cut through the backing fabric like a knife through butter. It really is that easy. So if you have a craft knife and you find it's not cutting very well, you need to swap out the blade. If you are going to buy a new one, my recommendation is that you buy some blades so that you can replace them as they dull, a bit like a needle on a sewing machine. If your needle is dull and it's not doing what it needs to be doing, you swap it out. Exactly the same concept with the craft knife. You don't have to have this particular one, there's many different varieties, but the most important thing is that the blade is sharp. So what we're going to do is we start off and then we're just going to follow this line. Now they are really sharp, so always put the lid back on. What we'll do is we pull this away. Now what you'll see is that I'm not wasting any fur. I haven't chopped into this. I'm not getting handfuls of fur coming off, which I did when my first wig. I did cut it with scissors and didn't realise. And even here you can see there is no loss. There's no loss of fur. It's still attached and looks lovely. So how did I achieve that? Well, again, you saw it was the craft knife. And what I did was I only cut this backing fabric. So I very gently, I can do this again because it's a bit on the long side. So I very gently, I mean, a little bit more pressure just starting it off. But once you've got that, you really aren't putting any weight or pressure on it to get it to do what you want it to do. This isn't going to come out very straight, but the idea, you understand the idea of what I'm talking about. Again, there is no loss of fur on either piece. So if you're cutting out your fur, use your craft knife, and you will find that everything goes so much, you know, your fabric goes so much further, and you're not losing chunks of hair that you then can't use that area in your next wig, so you are wasting that fabric around the edge. By doing it this way, you're not wasting any of that gorgeous fur. Now, so how do we turn these rectangles into a doll wig? Well, let me show you. So we get one of our pieces, smooth it down, and then this is what we have. So again, we grab my template, we put it centered. We want the fringe area to be the bottom. We want so the bottom of the fabric, so you've got the fringing coming down, and that way you know your fabric's going to come down at the front. And then all I do is I grab a pen, and it can be whatever you want as long as it won't seep through the backing, and then we simply draw around, and there we have an outline for our wig. So we find the craft knife, and again we start it off being careful of our fingers, and then as you can see, I'm just going, I'm following that line. You don't have to rush this bit, take time. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you want that nice shaping. And there you can see again, but not wasting. So if this was a bigger piece of fabric, you would still be able to cut your wig out from here. However, if you chopped it, you're going to be up here trying to cut it out because you've lost all that fur. So let's put that out of the way. Now, so what we have here is the back of the hair. We'll put that to one side, and now we need to do the fringe. Again, I just like to keep that fur in the direction I want it to be. It helps when you're doing your doll if you've already kind of worked a bit with that fabric to make it look the best it can. Now you can see I am grabbing bits of fur. It's just little bits that come up. Now my advice is something I did when I was making the dolls, and therefore was making quite a few wigs. I started doing them on the same day. Instead of making a doll, then make a wig, make a doll, then make a wig, I decided it would be easier to just make the wigs all on the same day. So I would do exactly as I'm doing now, but I would do as I cut out for many different colours ready to be sewn together. And if I had dolls waiting, I would then sew them together, and then on the same day do it all on the same day, or 2 days if necessary, and that way what you'll get, all this fluff and stuff that you're getting, at the end of the day you can go around, wet cloth, wipe it all down, hoover your floor or sweep your floor, and it's all dealt with in one day. If you make per doll, you're going to get this fluff, and it's just easier to do it all in one day. So if your intention is not to sell, but you would like to make more than one doll, then yeah, that's my advice. It helps keep on top of all the fluff. So now we're going to do exactly the same as we did before. We make sure that the fabric, the fur, is point is down towards us at the bottom, not the top. We don't want the fur up there, we want the fur down here, because we're going to use this to create our fringe. So let's grab the template again. So I pop it on there. Now, as you can see, there is that extra fabric. It's not, I did cut a piece off here when I was showing you. So you might receive a piece that has this extra bit, but you might not. It would depend really on how that's cut, but it will always be big enough that you can use your template and you can make a wig from it. So again, pen. Don't have to use a pen, you can use whatever you like. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do the fringe, and just like this we're going to trace with the pen, and we're going to trace this lovely side fringe, yeah, like that, and then move our template, and there we go. So again, what have we got to do? Well, we need our craft knife, and what we're wanting to do now is we're going to do as we did before. We're going to come round, but then we're going to do the fringe as well. So you are literally just cutting through, following the pen line around. No real pressure, it's not necessary. If you find a bit that is stuck together, the fibre, just gently cut through that, just cut through them, and then carry on all the way to the bottom. There we go. So again, no waste. Next time you can make your place your template a little bit further up on the fur, and then you get all this lovely fringing still. Now, so we've done what we did before, and like I say, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to carefully, these things aren't half sharp, they hurt when you accidentally I guess cut yourself. So all we're doing is taking that area out like that. So there we go. So we've got the back and the front. So, and like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect, but it just has to have that nice shape and be around the same size. Okay, now we've got two pieces in front of us, and now we need to turn this into one piece. How we do that is, first of all, I personally love, maybe I don't love it, I like to smooth the fur in from the side. In doing this, you're going to make it so much easier when you finish your wig, which I will show you in a minute. I'm just going to, again, on the side, smooth it, and then again the other side, we're smoothing it into the center to have a nice tidy area in which to work. Now, why do we do that? Because when we put the wigs together like this, so right sides together, both pieces, and again when you've cut it, ensure that the back of the hair and the fringe is at the bottom. So we get that, put it on top, and we just need a few clips, because what we're going to do is we are going to line up the backing fabric like that. We're going to clip it in place, and then we're going to gently smooth that fabric back in out of the way again, and then we do the same as the other side and we clip it like that, and then we just pop in a few more clips, just to, or a couple more clips, just to hold it together for when you want to sew it. So now what we've done now is we've made less work for ourselves, because by smoothing everything inwards, when we sew around this using a sewing machine, it won't you won't have the fur sticking out around the top and everything all around here, and you don't want that, because when you then turn it through, the fur is on the inside, which means what you have to do then is you have to take your wig and a pin, and then you'd have to use your pin and just gently bring up any fur that might have got trapped. Now what you will find is that on the shorter fabrics, that it can happen. You know, it's not a big deal if it does happen. It's just quicker and easier to do, as I said, keep on top of it before you construct the wig, and then you don't have to spend all the time pulling it out. If you do, then now you know how to do it, and next time try and maintain and get everything in as much as possible. Okay, so now all I need to do with this now then is to take it over to the sewing machine, and then I will sew a hem, so just around here, just to join it all together, and then in the next video I will show you the results and where we go from there. I thank you for watching. I hope this has helped, and please leave, if you've got questions, ask them in comments, and please like and subscribe to my channel so that you see more of these doll videos, and also if you press the notification button, you'll be told every time I release a new video. So like I said, hope that helps. Thank you. Bye.